Good morning. Good morning. This is the All In Within Mastermind crew. We are roughly the middle of April 2024. Topic today is going to be anger. And we're going to go in all areas of anger, how it affects you, and where people go with anger. The destruction that it creates, and where you can put yourself, when you hit this state of anger, and the levels of anger. The levels of anger can go from 1 to 100, and it can happen very quickly. Very quickly. It doesn't take much to get angry, as we see on the highways and such. People, fights, so on. People end up in prison with a split second of anger. We all know this in our households, with fighting with our spouses and our families and such on the streets. It's everywhere. Anger is everywhere. So I'm going to start off a little bit. I'm just going to touch on it, and then I'm going to go around the room. We have Kevin Chop Shop and AK here in the meeting today. It's a Sunday. And so I'm gonna get into this here, anger. So for myself, anger is a very dangerous place. It's a poisonous place in my brain, because it is a thought which can turn into action, and how quickly it happens. And I'm going to make an example. You're driving and somebody cuts you off. And it's instantaneous. You are instantaneously agitated and angry. And I think this is a really good topic, because everyone knows this. Everyone knows how fast it happens and where it can take you, right? And the highs and the lows and the coming out of anger. I mean, you have to come out of it. You're not going to stay there forever. So, it's how the human is built, and how we deal with it. So, people get into meditation, and calming areas, and your surroundings, to stay away from it. That's the whole reason we have these places, is to basically stay away from anger and frustration, right? So people want these Zen surroundings, and then that to stay at peace, right? Because I'd say the anger is the opposite. Anger is the opposite of that. So, yeah, for me, going to that place in my mind is very frustrating, because being in masterminds, I'm realizing that I'm going there. And how to deal with it, which is why we're here. This is why we do this. This is why we're putting this out, to talk to people about our emotions and how we conduct ourselves, right? So, and that's the reason why I believe a lot of us go to the gym. We work out, we train, we get into fitness, is to release our energy and stay away from that, indirectly, right? It's always a tool to stay away from anger, and that type of that feeling of just, that which can turn into destruction. I think, like Kevin said, it's like a burning, raging fire. You put one log in the fire, and then something else happens, and you're throwing another log on the fire, and it turns into just a raging beast of flames. So I'm going to go around the room and just get our outlooks on it, and how dangerous it can be, and to be aware of it. Like you have to be aware of this, and if you're not, you can end up in some pretty dark places. I mean, I think that's for our prison system. Our prison system is. Yeah, our prison system is full of people that snapped. They just snapped. And, people catch life sentences out
For
of
one moment.
for one moment, a
Fucking
split second of
insane.
anger. Well, I mean, a gun goes off and that's it. That's your split second.
No
So
taking
is
the
it
bullet
even
back. Yep.
a second sometimes, right? Where it can take you to a life sentence of despair, total despair, right? So I'll go around the room. Kevin Chop Shop, good to have you here, buddy. And anger.
Yeah, this is an amazing topic for me because I deal with it quite often.
Yep.
um, and For me, it's always trying to come up with either a plan or a visual in my head of how to do it. And growing up, I was very easily angered, and my anger turned into violence very easily. And so when I actually had some major fuck ups with that, I actually came up with this rule of three that I've talked before about. And it's the rule of three. Breaking it down is basically acknowledging what that one thing is that pisses you off, acknowledging the next thing, and acknowledging the third thing. And each time you acknowledge it, you check the facts. Basically, it was now I understand what it is. It's something happens. Okay, acknowledge this did piss me off, and then it's like, why did it piss me off? You check the facts. Is this valid reason for me to be pissed off? And if all the box click yes, I say okay, and then it sits dormant. But I'm aware of it. And then the next time it happens, so that's my strike two. Strike two is now it's been taken to another level. Now I acknowledge it. I check the facts. Is this valid? And fucking there you go. Yes, it is valid. So on three, and maybe this is not a good thing because on three you probably should be looking for four and five and six, but I think fuck that. If it comes down to if you went and checked the facts on one and two and three still happens and you've told people your boundaries and you've told people and I've straight up said like, hey, like you're on strike two. When strike three happens, I am going to be reactive to this, and I have every reason to do it because I have checked the facts, and you're gonna get what you fucking get with three. And if
Mhm.
people can't take that as a boundary or an acknowledgement that something bad's about to happen, then you're gonna get what's coming to you. And so that's what I never had to. I shouldn't say I never had to get to three because I got to three a few times, but I didn't feel bad after the fact that I did it, and I didn't feel what's the word? I didn't regret my actions. Whereas before, I would act on one, and when I act on one, I instantly regretted the next day. Like, fuck, I really blew up on that person, or I fought that person I shouldn't have fought. I literally I was literally at a bar one time, right? And I won't get into this too much, but I was at a bar one time. A guy came up, pissed me off, and I instantly swung at him, and I hit him, and
Oh shit.
as soon as I hit him, I knew right away. I was like, I fucked up. I was like, I regretted it. I was like, that does not. Anyways, he waited for me in the parking lot
Oh
with him
shit.
and him and his buddy with belts and all the shit. And he goes, you remember me from inside? I go, yeah, I do. I'm like, I fucked up, dude. I'm like, I that was stupid of me to swing. And he's like, well, let's go, let's go. I'm like, man, I just want to go home. I did fuck up. I apologize. I'm like, if you want to freaking take your hit, then take your hit. And he sat there and he's like, oh yeah, oh yeah. And then he goes, boom, and freaking clocks me at the good old sucker punch. It was awesome. Had my eye watering. Um, and right after that, I was like, okay, cool. I guess he expected me to react back and keep going, but I just stood there with, got a good punch in the face, and I just sat there like kind of laughing. And I was like, all right, so we both got our shot, right? Like, let's go home. And he sat there and he stared at me like, what the fuck? And his buddy's like, yo, let's just get out of here. Like, this guy's fucking stupid. And I was like, yep, I sure am. Now let's go home. And it was like, that could have turned into a really bad scenario. Like the one guy had a knife on him. The
Yeah.
one guy had brass knuckles. There was, if I had reacted and went after something like that over a freaking punch that I shouldn't have thrown in the first place, someone could have got stabbed that night. One of my buddies could have got stabbed. Someone could have got shot. That's just the way it is in this world. And So that rule of three kind of kicked in but in a different way, because I acted on one and I deserved one back, right? So and I've been there where I've got to three and I acted on three. And when I did act on three, I had the support of everyone around me. And even the guys that, even the buddies, because they knew that I was giving him every opportunity. Anyways, I got too deep into that, but that's that has solved me from a lot of violent anger, going that way. So I don't really deal with violence so much anymore. So I'm a bit different on that anger level, but anger for me now is resentment. And maybe it's because I'm not getting to the violent
Hmm.
stage and getting it out. So I need to, again, like back to what I wrote down here about transferring energy, or transferring the anger energy. So for me, it's built up resentment and things that I can't let go. Some things in the past that pissed me off, and they
Oh
kind of
yeah.
sit there as like my number ones, right? But they sit there as my number ones throughout the whole life, almost waiting for that next step, the number two, and then I'm
Yeah.
waiting for number three. So I need to like acknowledge the one and just get rid of it, so that I don't have this resentment and this anger that's just sort of lingering.
Yeah.
Or again, transfer it into something else. Like, I don't know, maybe go boxing, or I don't know.
Yeah. I
People
will
have said like,
comment.
what? Yeah,
I
please
do,
do.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I want to comment on that because Air AK, we've mentioned the stain in our brain that's kind of dirty, and how we
Mm-hmm.
can go back to that. And then I go back to it and I go, well, is there any positive outcome? Is there any positive outcome for acting on that? And
Yeah,
when you process it, you, almost all the time, it's no. There's no positive outcome. It's a negative outcome, right? So it's like, you got to look at it and you go, really, what's the point in taking yourself there? Or it's in the past already, and you're doing this now. It's literally gone. It's gone, and you're dwelling on that stain in your brain that's taking you to that place in that very moment when you're not even remotely there, which is fairly, it's complex. At the same time, it's very simple. It's like, I'm not there, it's over with. Yes, it's obviously bothering
yeah,
me, but is there what I'm getting at, is there a positive outcome? And what's the answer? And it's like, man, yeah, life's too short. I got to keep going doing what I'm doing, right? So that's what I got to say on that. But go ahead, buddy.
yeah. No, that's right there is where I struggle. Is right at that crossroads. Is being able to basically being able to delete that. It's like leaving a button for a freaking nuclear war, just open in your brain, so that when you get that trigger of, oh, I remember that this person did this, and then all of a sudden that button's just
Yeah,
sitting there ready to go.
yeah,
You need to get rid of that fucking button or that trigger or something. I don't know what it is. I got to rewire my brain to think that, when I start going down this path of thinking about what this person did, either, you know what it is, maybe it's freaking
well, it is.
taking a looking at it and almost taking a bit of blame or something for it, being like, like, what did I
Yeah,
do to leave this button
yeah,
open or something?
yeah. But it is a stain. It's a stain.
Yeah.
It's a stain on your brain that it's hilarious. It's kind of comical because you're trying to remove it and it just doesn't come off. You're
Yeah, if
like,
you have the magic formula to get rid of that stain, I'd fucking love it. I'll bottle that shit up and fucking sell it. Because I need
right.
a serious fucking stain remover.
Well, I tried a magic eraser on my shoes yesterday and it didn't work. So I don't know what to tell you, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
that Mr.
No,
Clean, man. You got one for fucking brain stains?
No shit.
that is
Uh,
priceless, man. That's priceless. But it's very serious. You know,
Mhm.
it's really fucking, it's actually really, oh man, it's just, anyways, I'll come up with the word, but go ahead if we want to go to AK or if you want to keep going.
No, let's hear from AK.
Yeah.
No, that's all good stuff. I guess for me, starting at the point of kind of understanding the anger and, look, kind of reading up on it a little bit, I've been seeing a lot about, it's kind of like an outdated emotion. It's like a primal emotion, and it
Uh-huh.
used to serve our ancestors back in the day really well, right? Out in the wild and shit, or protecting your own protecting your own tribe or camp or
Mhm.
family and stuff. Because back in the day, right, there really wasn't, well, um, law enforcement or a certain body of people to protect the masses, right? So guys had to protect their own tribes, and anger was probably a tool that helped them out, right? And then you kind of look at it, what's triggering your anger, is like some perceived threat, right? Or something, some injustice that you think you feel.
Yes.
And I've heard people put anger as the inability to control others or situations. It's
Oh,
really it's really, your response to an external situation. Typically, like the most time, you're not really angering yourself, right? Unless something happened or someone did something to you, I mean, yeah, I guess you could like do something stupid yourself, right? Where you
but
accidentally,
at the end of the day, are you angering yourself? You know what I mean?
right?
Because if you are in total, I don't know, I guess harmony or self control, um, you know, can you be to that place where you you have that gift of not reacting or not, you know what I mean? Being in a place of peace. And I don't know if it's, I mean, and you did mention nature, like anger. I mean, we have war, we have nature. You see nature, it's viciously angry, viciously.
Hmm.
I mean, animals get eaten alive with no remorse, right? So
Right.
it's
Well, I don't know if that's so much anger, is that's just
that's
survival at
survival.
that point, I think, right?
Survival, but the anger has to be there to conduct the. I don't. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. But you see the anger in it, or you
Oh,
see.
well, yeah. If you put it down to like a violent act, it's definitely a violent freaking lion ripping the shit apart of of anything.
Yeah,
Yes, yeah.
survival. Yeah, but I'm just
That's
saying
just
they
a
have to.
heavy, yeah.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
heavy energy.
To have the energy, exactly, to have the energy to do it, to commit it. Yeah, but it's amazing to see a person shift from that calmness to complete rage, and you're just like, whoa, holy! It's almost like so bad, and then you go into war. Let's talk about war then, right? The anger that's between countries or what have you, too, right? This goes really deep. You can analyze this forever
Oh
because
yeah.
it's a big part of our. What about race? Getting into race, there's anger. That's anger. You know what I mean? There's all sorts of places where you can get into this, and where it turns people from in control or peace to anger, right? So go back to you, AK.
No, yeah. Yeah, I was saying, just like, um, anger really doesn't serve us anymore as it once did.
Yes.
Right? So there's not much. It's outdated emotion. It's kind of weird to think of
Oh,
an emotion being outdated, but it really, we talked about
outdated.
this. Yeah, it's just like
Yeah,
archaic. It's like, yeah, I mean, you'd think we should evolve at some point from it, but mm, I don't know, right?
wow,
Because it gets passed down too, right? Little
it
kid
does.
sees dad get all angry,
It
and
does.
then that'll be his reaction to you know, unpleasant situations for him, and yeah, it just gets passed down. Another thing I'd like to bring up is we talked about this in the other group, the hot thought where you get that, like you just said, where you get cut off in traffic and you don't even know the person. All of a sudden, this person's your biggest problem of the day, right? And you're like, oh, motherfucker. And all of a sudden, you're following this. You're supposed to get off that exit. All of a sudden, you're following this guy down to his exit. You know, you want to fucking talk to him about it. And
I've never
yeah.
done that. No, I've never done that.
Oh, man,
Oh
right?
I
shit.
saw your hand come out the window, motherfucker. I saw your finger. I saw your finger.
Oh, man. One time I
I
had
was
somebody
just
throw a
telling you you
bottle
were
at
number
me.
one. I was just telling you were number one. Good job.
Yeah, right. The bird, flipping the bird. Yeah, we've all been there. So
Yeah.
identifying that hot thought as, you know, that initial like, ooh, that adrenaline spike, you get that adrenaline spike. Actually, that's a good indicator. I've identified that adrenaline spike with, okay, Aaron, don't do what that energy that adrenaline spike wants you to do. Don't, because it'll feel good for the moment, right? Punching that dude felt great in the moment, but then you're like, oh shit. Now I have to deal with everything afterwards.
You telling me that you're going around punching dudes out that cut you off?
No, I was referring to you in that bar, kind of.
Oh,
I was,
okay, okay. I thought he was like, yeah, I'm driving down the road.
no, dude, I
No,
don't buy
that was
into that at
Oh,
all.
oh,
No.
that was pretty visual, man. Yeah, I chased him to the next exit. I punched him right in the
Oh.
teeth. I'm like, holy AK, we got a problem here.
No.
you find
I have
yourself.
followed people for a little bit, but never. I was like, all right, this is stupid.
He
This is
has
stupid,
followed. He has followed people for a little bit.
right? Yeah.
How many
Where they
times have you
really
fought?
piss you off. You're like, oh man, I wanna. Yeah, I don't know what I was gonna do. I was
You
like, man, I was like, I thought one time I was like, all right, I'm gonna get this guy's license plate number and then call it in and say he was doing something crazy or some shit. But you drop it,
it's
you
so
know.
funny. It's so funny. It's that's I love that you said that because that's me like when I catch myself doing that now, I literally I just laugh my ass off because I'm just like like how we are now. It's just like I'm picturing myself like what would I be doing in this situation before? And it's like I would be driving and I would speed up and get beside him just so that I could give him an angry stare. And I'm like, and then I start laughing.
Right?
I'm like, oh yeah, you gave him a good angry stare, man. You got him.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
Well, and then later, let's just say all these times that have happened and you do react, it all cools off. And then later on,
Exactly.
you don't even, you're
You
not
weren't even
even,
tripping, yeah.
you weren't even tripping. You don't, and you actually can't even go back and remember it. I'm sure there's lots of times that it's happened to me. I
Oh
can't
yeah.
even really remember it. Right. So
Yep.
it's like the forest fire. You say the forest fire, but that forest fire ultimately goes out, right?
Well,
It
It
dies.
that's why I
does.
bring. Yeah, that's why I bring
Can't
up
burn
that fire
forever.
because, like, like picture you get up in the morning and you ran out of coffee, and then you're like, ah, fuck, 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 and there's like one log that you throw on the fire, but if you don't let it like burn out or fucking laugh it off and just kind of cool it down, and you go to the next thing where you get in your car and then you're driving to work and some guy cuts you off, then you throw another log on the fire, but you haven't let the other one simmer down yet, so now you got a bigger fire, and then you go and see your boss, and your boss pisses you right off. So there was another fucking five fucking logs on the fire, and then now you've been having this fire, just stoking this fire all day long, and then you come home or you go to your buddy's place and he says one wrong thing, and now it's a fucking your fire's too fucking big to contain, and then you're like, go fuck yourself, and then it turns into a violent exchange, right? Where you gotta manage the fire that you're putting on, and just each log you manage it or you let it burn out, or okay, cool, it got me warm, okay, cool, put it out, and then and go from there until you're like I said, just like burning the whole fucking forest down, which is, I guess that's part of I guess there's a little bit of resentment, or I don't know.
Well,
Well,
Stacking up
yeah.
the, yeah.
yeah, and you know what? It's good. This is really cool because being in this mastermind right now, just talking about it is helping me understand it. Just talking about it, saying, "Oh, okay," like you're working through it. And then when you come into these situations, like, "Oh, I've talked about this and how I felt about this before." And it's like right now, I'm even thinking about it. I'm going, okay, this is where I need to be to talk
Mm,
about this,
Yeah.
to understand how I'm feeling about certain things that are happening out in the world or whatever. But this is, I think, what people have to do is talk about things more and not keep it inside. To
Absolutely.
build yourself up, to understand your emotions.
You said it right there, is understanding is, it's constantly finding a way to understand that how you learn, because we all learn differently, we all see it differently, right? And we could have the same conversation 10 different times with each other,
Yeah.
but then one person comes in and says, oh, it's not like a forest fire, it's like, something else. It's like water, putting too much water in your bucket and then it overflows, and then that's what clicks with you. It's, you know what I mean? It's associating whatever tool, or however you're going to see it, that works best for you to do. And I'm only saying this
Totally.
because I'm constantly looking for a way to understand it, because I'll get to the like, we'll have this conversation today, and then I'll be like, oh yeah, that log, oh yeah, that fire, don't let that fire get too big. And then by the end of the day, I'm probably gonna be like, fuck it, I don't care, just fucking burn it all down. And then I'm like, you just forgot everything that you said. And then maybe tomorrow I'll come up with another thing in my head that'll make it work better for me. So I think that's why it's good in these groups to is understands, like, the best. Understand and challenge are the two words that I really picked up this week. So trying to
Yes.
understand it, and always challenging myself to understand it, or challenging myself to be better every day. So those two words for me just keep clicking, 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 clicking. So I feel like
Well,
I'm getting somewhere.
it's awesome that you just said that because I was just thinking of other members of our group and having them talk in here. Like Aaron Roberts would have he would be really into this conversation because he's dealt with horrendous anger, and to
mm,
hear his outlook on it would be interesting, and that's why we're building this into a massive community so people can talk about this and say, hey, this is what's going on, this is what's happening with me. I want to live a better life and understand my emotions and work and level up every time. I know even right now after this meeting I'm going to be like, okay, I talked about this today. I talked about this. I'm understanding why I'm fucking rageful. And where is it going? Is it really benefiting me? Is it benefiting me? No, it's not benefiting me at all. It's not benefiting me. It's not giving me any other positive gains. It's not giving you any positive gains. You know what I mean? At all. So it's like, I had a meeting about this. I've talked about this, and that's the growth. Is having other people's outlooks on how they understand things, how understand their emotions and what they're going through. And it's good to hear other people's analogies. It's so cool. It's so cool because people are so unique. They're so different. So I appreciate that contribution big time. I'm going to think about that lots because
mm-hmm.
everybody comes at it from a different angle, right?
Very, very
So,
true.
go ahead,
Yeah.
AK.
Uh, well, I guess you kind of have to take a little, when you do get angry, you kind of have to take a little step back and be like, okay, what is exactly fueling the anger, right? Am I hurt? Is it fear? Am I frustrated? Right? Like your girlfriend breaks up with you, okay, you're hurt. Well, don't start calling her names and shit, and you were just with the person. Identify that you're hurt, and that you need to adjust, right? And She broke up with you, she broke up with you, move on.
Yeah.
Or is it fear? Are you insecure about something, right? Like you see, like with this political climate out there, and the protesting, there's a lot of anger behind those protests and shit, right? And what's
Very
Yeah.
much.
behind that anger? It's like fear. It's like you're insecure about that other view possibly controlling your life, even though that's not even true. We control our own lives. At the end of the day, you can't blame no president, you can't blame no political view for your situation you put yourself in, right? Because if you do that, then you gave all your control to that situation. You said you were powerless, which is which is
Yeah.
couldn't be further from the truth, right? And
Oh,
then
Well, you just
it's just
100%.
frustrated.
you just nailed something there is with the protest puts it into perspective is there's yeah like you said there's a lot of anger at a protest, but if these protests were done differently, right, and not like full of anger and not full of like this is our shit, we're jamming it down your throat, and it was more of like a discussion, like think about
Right.
how much farther would that
Oh,
go,
oh,
like vegans
Yes.
versus these versus freaking meat plants and shit. Like if it was more of like a sit down or like a debate that you could have that was like understand, it might come down to like, you know what, like obviously we're gonna eat meat, obviously we're gonna eat plants, but maybe we can come to a happy median where we're both happy, like maybe we treat the animals better, or it's just I don't know, like I know that's a little bit
Yeah.
far off,
Yeah,
but
there's a lot of
um
projection, of what
yeah.
what you want of how you are, and you want to put that onto other people, and people have to realize is, hey man, we're all individuals, and we're all going to have, because the same reason our fingerprints are different, we're going to have different views, right? So
uh,
just
yeah.
whoa.
acknowledge that, acknowledge it, work with it. Yeah, and like Kevin, like, yeah, if there's a lot more understanding of the other person's view, where they're coming from,
Yes.
then we might get somewhere a lot better, right? That's what
Oh,
needs to
Absolutely.
change too, is the finger pointing. How about we just work together, identify that, yeah, we are individuals and we're not going to be thinking the same, but working towards some common ground, working towards for the betterment of the whole group.
yeah.
And yeah, just the polarity out there that people buy into, right?
Well,
And then
I'm just gonna put a little bit on there, AK, is the positive outcome. Where is the anger taking you? That's what I'm looking at. I'm like, where's it taking me? There's no way this is taking me to a good place. It's just like, so when you're looking at yourself, I just think it's like, you got to look internally. And if you're looking at yourself internally, and then you're giving that back out, and you become kind of more resilient, more robust towards it,
yes,
towards that feeling. And it's like, okay, no, I don't have to feel like that. I don't have to feel that way. Fuck it. It's like honestly like snuffing out the fire right away.
Oh yeah.
So it's yeah. So I mean, this is where it's at, is to get into it and talk it out, get into it,
if
and
if there was any message that someone needed to hear, like if I were to pick out of all of our meetings or all of our whatever, and there was one thing that I had to be like, hey, this is what everyone needs to see, this is what everyone needs to hear, it would be this right here. Like anger and turning to and understanding. Like if you think about every fucking household in the world, if the let's just break it down to the couple. If the couple
yeah,
had just were able to have a few skills of understanding their anger, and then trying to, like Aaron said perfectly, is coming to common ground. And like I think that should just be like a staple of a house, and it's called common ground. And it's like, hey, cool, we get in the fight, like go to that circle that's common ground and we figure out, and then we can't leave that circle until we leave. Like let's go here, let's understand the problem, and when we come to a solution or we come to common ground, then we can get out of this circle. We can go outside the house.
yes,
So I love
yes.
that.
Well,
I'm not preaching here. So everyone's understanding, right? I am only saying this because I need to
I get
practice
it.
this myself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
exactly.
learning this for myself. I'm
Right?
trying to find it, but yeah, common ground. I love that.
being persistent at understanding your anger,
The
Oh, right
triggers and
there.
shit. Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Because
understanding the triggers and stuff.
oh yeah, and
The
what about what people have the things that have sparked anger? How stupid, how minuscule things have that have sparked anger. Like you're
oh
just
the
like,
right?
what were we
And
fighting over that day? Like, or what happened? It's like over the butter, like or something stupid. Like
right?
you're
It
just
was
like,
that
what
fucking
happened?
sock that you left on the floor, Patrick. That sock fucking pissed me off. You
It was
you
that
couldn't walk
that
5 feet more and put that stupid sock away.
Why do I hear a ringing in my ear? Why do I hear a ringing in my ear right now? Yeah, it's so true. So true. Pick up the sock to escape some anger.
Oh,
Yeah, no kidding.
well,
Yeah.
you know, you can kind of assess your anger on like what's all triggering you, right? We know some people out there, maybe some people personally, that it's damn near everything that triggers their anger. It's like, holy shit, you know, oh, that person, you know, they left the four-way stop, you know, it was my turn to go and shit. And it's like, oh, you go down, you know, they'll go to the coffee shop. Oh, this damn line's so long. It's like everywhere is like anger for them. It's like, hey, I mean, that should be see, that's where that emotional intelligence should come into play. It's be like, okay, well, it isn't all these situations, it's me. I'm the one that needs to adjust here, you know? It's like, come on,
Oh, that's it. That's it, because it is you.
it
It is
is.
it is you.
You're actually, yeah, not doing yourself a disservice health wise because having all that extra cortisol, because anger, it
Oh,
triggers, it releases the adrenaline and the cortisol, right? That stress hormone.
yes.
So that is hard on your system, you
Very.
know, for if you're always angry and having that pump through your system, it's like, man, you're not gonna live that long.
Well,
It's
it creates heart attacks.
yeah, heart attack, stroke, heart disease, yeah, and stroke, exactly. Hypertension, your blood
Yes,
pressure goes up.
just a little bit.
Yeah,
yeah,
just a little bit, right?
you guys are literally saving my life over here by keeping my cortisol down.
Right?
I'm a very high stress person outside of this group. So that's one thing I
Yeah.
definitely need to get banged
Well,
out on.
and we have to realize, like, even at this very moment, we have people right now that are in very serious conflict, and there's serious fights going on in the world
For
that,
sure, dude.
where there's a lot of anger. There's a lot of anger. So it's really, it's a very serious topic. We laugh about it now. We laugh about it because it's true. And it's, you have to look back and laugh sometimes, but I'm sure there's some fights going right now where it's not that funny. You know what I mean?
You're right.
So it's like, you know, what can we do to make things better? And it's just talk about it, and we put our info, our content, and our information out there,
Yeah.
and bring a more positive outlook on it to
For
create
sure.
things that create better things, right?
Fuck. Thank you
And
for
So,
saying
on
that.
the
Yeah.
resolution side of things, right? It is
yes, the
you need to
resolution.
you need to because at the core of that too, you're given well, you know, we're very calculating on when we like to swear in here, right? But you need to give a fuck. You need to make sure you're giving a fuck where those fucks are working for you, right? You're like you're caring. Like when you were letting your anger piss you off, you're caring too much about shit. Let it go. It's like, okay, the dude cut you off in traffic. He
Yeah.
obviously needed to be somewhere quicker than you did. So just freaking let him go, let it go, right? And start adjusting to that stuff. Cause yeah, I mean, if you're an angry person, don't don't just be like, don't, well, if you're an angry person, then you have a fixed mindset. Oh, you're just gonna be like, that's the way it is. That's the way I am. There's
Well, look,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
I'll bring
and
up,
that's wrong, right? Yeah.
what about this one? The light's green, asshole. The light's green. Go.
Right?
Yeah, but that right there is a perfect analogy for what I'm going into right now. Is always looking for an understanding for why like it's not why is this always happening to me, blah blah blah. It's like, okay, well, this happened to me for what? You know what I mean? So right there, you said it. The light goes green. Where are you going, motherfucker? And then what do? You see the guys that hit the green light and they smash the gas, and the guy freaking with an 18-wheeler freaking wipes out their whole family because
Yeah,
they hit the gas right as it went green. So it's like,
yeah,
why is it's not why is this happening to me? It's why is it happening for me? And
yeah.
and like so
Yes.
like there's
Whoa,
if you're
whoa,
so
whoa.
anytime you're gonna get pissed off, just look at it that way. Like, okay, well, this guy didn't go. All right, well, in my head, I'm instantly rewiring it to be like, oh, I wasn't meant to go through the intersection at that time. Maybe something could have happened. Oh, I'm 10 minutes late for whatever. It's like, okay, well, maybe if I was 10 minutes early, I would have fucking fucked up, or I would have missed out on the next opportunity. It's just like whatever the universe is giving to you, or putting in your path, is to me, it's that fork in the road. It's just like, it's like, Brent, you can't go here, and it's like, why can't I go here? It's like, okay, well, you're supposed to go over here, motherfucker. Just go that way. Take the
Yeah,
cues from the universe. Take the cues from the universe and start rolling with it. And I find, like, for me, I'm a lot more content, and I don't get as angry as easy, because now I'm always, soon as I catch myself and like, oh, I'm fucking pissed, it's like, okay, why? And it's like, oh, you're supposed to go this
yeah.
way. Let's go. Let's roll this way.
That's
And then you get to
happening.
the next one. Yeah, it's happening.
That's happening.
You just let it happen to you. Enjoy it. See the opportunity in whatever it is, why you're going down this way. Maybe you were supposed to go down this path, and to see a house that you might buy, or you might run into someone on the street that needed some help, or there's if you look for an
Yeah,
opportunity in any situation, there's probably something there if you take a look around. It's like a Where's Waldo?
yeah,
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
it's
But why is
also
it happening
opportunity for a growth.
to me,
Yes, absolutely.
why is this happening to me, or why is this happening for me? Whoa.
Yes. I need
Well,
to
that's
adjust
like,
here.
that's why I'm
Yes.
here this morning. To hear that right there, that's why I'm here this morning. That's why I was meant to be here. You know what I mean? Because if I can look at it that way, if I can look at it that way and go, oh, okay, chill out, motherfucker. Like, chill out, man. You don't really have to go there. Like, that's a huge tool. That's a huge tool, and more people, everybody should look at it that way.
Right.
Everyone, right?
Yeah,
And
when you say to
yeah,
me, you are
Selfish.
saying, like I said before, you're saying that the situation has control over you, right? And you don't have control over it, right? When it happens
Yeah,
for me, okay, this is an opportunity for me to flex patience, for me to flex understanding, for me to flex acceptance of something, right? Or adjust and not buy into the way it could I
well, I'll tell
perceiving
you
it
right now,
to yep.
I'm removing a little bit of my stain, right? You know what I mean? Because that's the work right there.
Yep.
That is exactly why we are here right now. To hear a tidbit, something that's it's small, but it's so massive. So massive. 4 or 2, like, come on now. Really? That's the difference in understanding? Like, come on. Wow. Like, thank you, Kevin, because whoa, you know what I mean? Like, if you think about that, if you really think about that, that can change, that just changes everything. That puts everything in a different perspective. Everything.
Now just remember, you have that tool now, but you're gonna have to put a lot of work in to use that
Oh,
tool properly. because
Yeah.
I know about it, but I have to practice it every day to to
oh
keep remembering
yeah.
that.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
being in the mastermind is when you're working on it and you're like, oh, that's great. That's great. This is great. And then putting it into actually practicing it. I think with time going by, well, you guys, I mean, saw me at the beginning of our masterminds and everything else. Even, I mean, all of us, how much we've progressed is crazy. It's it's absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, it's awesome
And
to see. Yeah.
that's why we're magnetic. We're magnetic to these meetings because we just know we know it's good for us. We just know. Like I don't react half as much as I did before. I just don't because I'm working on it. But I do
Working
go to
on
that
it.
place. I go to that place and I'm like, well, I'm working on this every day. Why? Why? It's because of that stain that's been there forever. Go ahead.
But this is the best part, and it's funny because it's us three right now. And
Yeah.
I mean that because we've had these huge ass fucking blowouts where we're freaking ready to fucking axe the next person. And to
Oh,
where we are now, it's like holy shit.
yeah.
I
Guillotine.
right
Guillotine.
yeah, right now if we could put those clips in of me and Patrick going at it, or Patrick and Aaron going at it, like that would be awesome. Like this is where we were. And it's so that brings up the part of like sticking it out and trying to understand, because if
Yeah.
any one of us in here, that's how the universe works, right? Like why did that happen? It happened so that we could talk about this today. Because
Whoa.
if we asked each other and we didn't put in the work and we didn't try to understand why is Patrick angry, why is AK freaking it's we all put in the work to try and understand each other better. And now look how far we've come because of just that. Because of just that.
We have to
So
remember. Hey, and let's just put a little more on that. As a group in here talking about that right now, let's stamp that in our brains and remember that,
yeah.
right? That's why we're here. That's exactly why we're here. Right. So
Mhm.
let's stamp that. And that's compassion for someone else, right? That's compassion and understanding of what somebody else is going through, So I appreciate that too, Kevin. This is good. This is good here. And
Yep.
you know, so go ahead. Yeah, keep going, guys. I'm listening. I'm listening big time.
Oh yeah,
Um,
no, that's all
uh,
I got to say about that. I want to hear AK
well,
and Aaron story.
what helps me out, what helps me evolve from it, like I said before, is I put a definition on that. I put a definition on that adrenaline spike, and like, oh, I get that adrenaline spike, and it's like when somebody did something against me, I'm like, okay, Aaron, you got that adrenaline spike. Don't buy into what that adrenaline spike wants you to do right now. Have that emotional intelligence. Don't say anything to this person, just and sometimes I'm just like, okay, well, like the person that does cut me off in traffic, I usually think of, okay, well, who knows what's going on in their life, right? Are they, he could have just heard, that his mom got cancer, or his daughter's on heroin, or he lost his dog or some shit. I try to empathize with the person, right? And be like, you don't know where they're coming from. And yeah, I mean, they did cut you off. That's not cool. You wouldn't do that. That's another thing. It's like you're projecting what you would do in that situation. You'd be like, I wouldn't do that. So you're like, why is he doing that, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's just like, okay, Aaron, when you get that hot thought, that adrenaline rush, don't react on that, because you'll feel way better. You won't have that karmic debt, you know, because right, if you have interaction with somebody where you're arguing, yelling at each other, 3-4 hours later, you're still thinking about that. You're still going through it. You're like, oh man, I wish I would have said this, or wish I would have done that. It's like, no,
Yeah,
you should have done nothing, and then it wasn't even an issue, and you didn't waste personal time on it. You didn't put yourself in a little personal prison for 3 hours thinking about
Well,
it.
I have a crazy little story there for you. You brought it right up there. Like my dog got hit on the street, and I fucked ground. I had to chase him around like to grab him, and I'm like, I was
Yeah.
losing my mind because I thought right there he was done. I threw him in the car, and I raced to the vet. Well, I was doing probably 120 in a 60 zone where there's schools and shit all around. And I remember this lady, like, literally, I think she was like throwing something at the car as I was going by and yelling and screaming. I was just like, fuck you, ah. I was so panicked. And then I dealt with it, right? And after I was able to calm down, I actually drove by the house after I dropped my dog off. I actually drove by the house, and I'm like, I apologize. Like, this is where I was coming from, and I completely understand. Like, I am a complete idiot. Like, I could have made the situation so much worse by hitting a kid or something. And it's like, and getting there like 2 seconds faster than what it would have taken me, it really didn't make a difference. But and she was like, well, I do understand that, but like, holy shit, like, I got kids around. And I'm like, you know what? I'm the same way. I'm like, if it were me in your shoes, I would have went and freaking took a bat and smashed the damn car right away. I would have chased the guy to the parking lot and beat the shit out of the car. But at the same time, you look at it the other way again, and it's like, okay, well, that would be like me with my dying dog, and then some lady coming up and beating my truck with a fucking bat and making it worse. And then now I got to kill this lady. And you know what I mean? It's so weird how certain things can happen, and the like the chain event of how it happens. So, I didn't deal with it properly. I think she had every right to yell and scream at me, and I think in a way that was a good thing for me, because I realized, holy shit, what am I doing? I messed up. And then when I went and talked to her about it, she's like, yeah, oh man, like, that sucks. Like, is your dog okay? And we actually had a good conversation about it. Um, but
That's cool you
yeah,
went
that was
back,
like one.
dude.
What's that?
I said that's cool you went back. Like
Yeah.
99% of people don't go back.
Well, I had to, man. It was like right around the
Right.
street from my house, and all I could think about in my head, like, soon as
Yeah.
I literally had some chick run over my dog because she was a piece of shit doing exactly what I was doing, driving too fast down the road. So, like, what the hell? And then it's like, okay, so then if I ran over a dog on the way because my dog got ran over, it's like I'm in the same fucking person. And that's when it all clued in. I'm like, you're like, how stupid are you? Like, you are in this exact position right now, taking your dog to the hospital because some guy or some chick was rushing to get home for whatever reason it may have been, and ran over my dog.
Mm,
So
yeah.
and that's how the whole world goes. It's like one thing is like, well, I deserve to be here sooner, and this is the reason why I'm here. But then you drive that fast, and then you hit some lady or you hit something on the way, and then
Yep.
that's like the chain react. And then you hit that person, and now this person's angry, and then this person goes and takes a bat or a gun and goes back and hits this person, and then this person, you know what I mean? It's like,
Oh yeah.
excuse me.
Yeah.
It's like gangland, right? Like, buddy fucking comes up and he has a problem with someone, and it starts off as an argument, and then it turns into a punch, and then the guy comes back with a knife, and then the other guy comes back with a knife, and now there's freaking 30 groups, shooting at each other
Yeah.
and killing innocent kids and blowing up
Bodies
freaking
laying
buildings.
everywhere
Bodies laying everywhere for what? Because one guy told some
for
other guy
no
to fuck off.
reason because somebody got
Probably,
angry.
yeah, because someone ate the rest of his cheeseburger. Like, fuck.
Yeah,
Yeah. Right.
when you have the opportunity to choose a different direction,
Yeah,
right?
fuck
Like,
yeah.
you have the opportunity to choose a different direction. I'm going to be totally honest about this right now. Tarot cards came up on my TV, and that's what it says right now. Right?
And it said what? Sorry.
It says the opportunity to choose a different direction, and it just came up on my screen. I can't make that shit up, man. Like, that's crazy. I'm like,
It
what?
is.
I was like, I did like this one, take the full head tilt. I'm like, what? What was that?
Wow.
Oh,
Wow. All
and
right.
does that not put it into perspective?
Big time.
Like,
Totally.
whoa, that like
I had a similar
that's a
situation as
ball.
you, Kevin, except I was on that lady's side, and this teenager flew past my house. He's probably going like, it'd probably be like I don't know, 45 in your speed, like 25 miles an hour or so. But he was going like 50 or so. And he flew by with like a Subaru WRX, tinted windows and with like a little like, you know, straight pipe coming off his car, so he's really loud and shit. And I saw him fly by on my doorbell camera. I was like, what the hell? And I seen the car around, and then he came back through, and I was like, I waved him over, and I was like, all pissed off. I was like, Aaron, but don't make sure you know, talk to this kid with some understanding. So I waved him over, and he had enough balls to come back over. He comes over. I'm like, hey man, I cooled myself as he's coming over. I was like, don't be angry. Just show him where he went wrong. And I was like, hey man, there's a lot of kids on this road. And if a kid would have came out and you're driving that fast, dude, it would have been over for you, for that kid, and your life would have been changed forever. And he's like, yeah, you're right. So, I kind of had a cool head, and we both came to some understanding. He was like, yeah, you're right. And I was like, yeah, just slow down, dude. I like your car and shit, but you can't be flying down this road. And I was like, there's an industrial park right over there where there's nobody in there. Go flying around in there.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Thank
it
you.
was
Thank
like,
you for saying. That's
yeah,
literally yeah, like most people don't, and I try to say that about anger, and I talk about acting like a gangster, like being a gangster, and everyone thinks, oh, like a shoot 'em up gangster. It's like no, like that mob boss, like cool collective. Like you don't. If you went at that guy and was like, "Fuck you, you little shit," blah blah blah, he would have said the exact
yeah,
same back. Never even listened
he
to
would have
what
been
you
a little
said.
shit. I probably would have got my
But you went
house
in
egged.
right, but you went in
Would
like
you
a
just
mob boss, and you're just like, yeah, like you could fucking hurt some kids around here, but there's a park right over there that you could go do the same thing in. Now it's like, oh shit, it's disappointment, man. Disappointment will cut heads off. Anger will just piss someone off.
well, and it's
Right.
funny that we just brought that saying up though. You saw the opportunity to go and choose a different direction with that kid,
Yes.
Fuck
I
yeah.
I was
right?
like, man, no, I know. I was like, just thinking in my head, and this is like this was like the onset of me kind of just finding Watson. So he already had helped me out a little bit there. I was like, all right, don't come down on this kid, because he's not going to listen. Otherwise, he's probably going to be a dick to you. But if you kind of, you know, give him some compassion, show him, hey, dude, don't watch out because shit can happen. And he's so young, right? Those young kids don't have any life experience, or they don't feel the ramifications of some of the things you do. So I was just like, all right, enlighten this kid a little bit. And I think,
Think
you,
how
you
much that
know,
think how much that changed his future and his thinking.
right. Yeah, because I've never seen him fly by. He's like, I don't know if he's friends with like somebody up the street or something, but I've never seen him fly by ever again the last time. So, and I
Yeah.
do see him come
But
around.
that was a life that what you did there, staying cool and rethinking and processing might have could have saved somebody's life.
For sure, right? Yeah.
You know what I
Well, I'll
mean?
tell you right
Some
now that
unnecessary grief.
I'll
Yes,
tell you right now what
unnecessary.
exactly what you just did is exactly what happened to me. That made me think differently of that. I was the same kid in that car doing the exact same fucking thing. And
Yeah.
and this guy literally chased me down. And when I came up, I was like, oh shit. I was like, I'm gonna get fucking reamed. And same thing, he came up, he's like, hey dude, cool car, blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, man, I just got it running. I'm trying to sort out a problem. I got excited. He's like, that's cool, man. Same thing. There's a road over there behind there. You could do whatever the fuck you want. Just don't do it here, man. There's kids. And I'm like, awesome. I'm like, I felt the disappointment from this guy, but I respected the hell out of him for how he handled himself. So exactly what you just said, I went through, and that's what changed my driving through until my dog got hit. So now I added that into there too.
Yeah, sometimes all bets are off, and
Well, and how
I
many,
gotta get to where I gotta go.
right here, right here, right now. The public and young drivers, all drivers. This is why we're here, to hear exactly what we're talking about right now. These exact stories that need to be told to give out understanding and be like, yeah, wow. I don't want to be caught in that situation at all, ever.
No, dude, that's awful.
Right? What did you say? Unnecessary. What did you say?
Un Unnecessary grief,
Unnecessary grief. Oh,
right? And yeah,
right.
what if a kid did come out and he did hit him, right? And then now he's like, damn, now he's got to think of that the rest of his life because he was just,
Oh, ruin.
I think the kid was showing off with his friend in the passenger seat, and that's what they were doing. It's like, damn,
Yeah.
man, you were flying. Any faster, I think you would have took off into the air. It's like, damn, dude.
Yeah.
And I've seen the guy across my street. He's a classic react the other way. I've seen him come out in the street and be like, "What the fuck?" Just yell at the top of his top of his lungs. And I'm like, all right, I've been there before.
Yeah.
But I'm
Those-
like, man,
those
he
are the
kinda looks
guys
like
that
a
we drive-
jackass.
Yeah, those are the guys that we drive by, and every time we went by his house, we'd make sure we did a little burnout.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you
those
want
guys,
some more?
right?
You want
Because
some
you want
more?
to piss those guys off even more, right? Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was
Yeah.
like, man, and if I yell at this kid, he knows where I live. He knows exactly where I live, and I can't always be, looking out for the front of my house. So I was like, I thought I was gonna.
Man, it's gonna go another direction. It can go another direction for sure.
Yeah, when I was younger,
that's where that
there was a
caveman
guy.
fear.
With
I was gonna say,
reaction, with a negative reaction though. A negative
Right.
reaction will respond with a negative reaction. Right.
There was a
So-
guy in my neighborhood when I was growing up, and he was just a mean old guy, always watching out the front of his window. And like I remember one time the football went into his yard. Our football went into his yard, and one of the kids went over there and got it, and he comes out just all belligerent, blah, don't you touch my yard. So what we would do is we'd stand on the street and just put our foot on his yard and take it off and shit, do that just to piss him off. And he'd come out and yell at us. It's like, okay, well, dude, you're reacting like that, so we want to push your buttons even more. You want to push those people's buttons because you're like, all right, look at this guy just react to this shit,
You do know that there was a movie made after you, right? It's called Monster House. You should watch it. It's awesome. It's a kid's cartoon with exactly that. Don't step off my grass. Get off my grass. It's actually really good. It ties in all of what we just said. Like that guy's for breaking it down as a cartoon, and the guy seems like really angry and he's mean all the time, and he takes all the kids'
Monster
toys
House.
around and stay off my grass and all this. And it turns out in the end that like the house is actually it was this big old lady from the circus. She was a fat lady, and she was put in a cage and she was treated poorly. And this guy went and, like, saved her from it, and they got a house together and they built this beautiful house. And then kids started bugging her, and because she reacted on that and went after them, she ended up like dying in the house and then turned into Monster House. And this guy was literally just trying to save all the kids by saying, like, stay off my grass, stay off my lawn. And in the end, the freaking house comes to life and starts eating everyone. It's you'd have to like kind of watch it, but it's really cool how which brings it into like
Nice.
how we're all talking about how like anger, when you react to anger, this is what can happen. And then this guy being angry, but he's actually trying to save and push people in the right direction. So it's kind of a cool way of looking at the different ways anger can in a kids movie. So I mean, fuck, that's a great one.
Right on, right on. Okay, guys,
But anyways,
what do you think? Probably wrap it up here. So what I'm gonna say, I'm gonna cap this off. I'll cap it off with dealing with anger. Okay, dealing with anger. Then I'm gonna go with the tarot cards today. I'm gonna go with the tarot cards that I saw. Take the opportunity to choose a different direction with a positive outlook instead of going down that dirty old rabbit hole. That we do, all of us humans do. and experience that shitty feeling. So that's what I've got to say about that, is take that opportunity to look at it and go a different direction. So thanks a lot, guys. It's been a tremendous meeting today. It's funny. It's funny when you show up and you stick it out. You stick it out. Stick it out. Go to the
Yep.
bitter end. Go to the bitter end, even if there is a little bit of frustration, right? A little bit of frustration is fine, but you deal with it. You say, no, I'm going to stick this motherfucker out. So in the end, we're putting something good out there. And again, thanks, guys, and peace. If you guys have anything to add, go ahead.
I just wanted to add that thank you, Patrick, for sticking it out, because you were sitting in here all by yourself, and then I showed up, and we're like, all right, let's get into it. So amazing. I needed this today big time. So thank
I
you
did
for
too.
that. Sorry,
I
go
needed
ahead,
it.
Aaron.
Yeah, I'm just looking into the root causes, the triggers, and identifying, the effects of anger can help you, achieve a higher awareness of it, right? And become more in tune with what anger not only can do to your life, but where it stems from. So that's what I got.
Guys, and you know what? I'll put this out here and to close this meeting. This is a topic that can be brought up many times, and there can be
It
many
is
meetings, many
for sure.
conversations on anger and how it affects the world. So thanks a lot. Peace out.
Hell yeah.
Beautiful.